Hello, everyone, and welcome back to part number 3 of this intranet tutorial series. Now, if you watched the previous videos, I've already shown you guys where to start, what the basics are, and how to actually start setting up your intranet using SharePoint Online, right? Now, in today's video, I'm going to be guiding you guys through a few of the widgets which I generally like to use a lot and generalized structure on how you could be structuring your intranet, right? So without further ado, let's get started. Right, so in the beginning, when you use the layout which I've shown in the previous steps, you will be given a structure which is starting with the hero widget, right? So when you click on edit, right? So let's go over to edit first. Then it will show you here, you are using currently a full width hero web part. Now, in case you may not want to use it like that, if you click on the sidebar on the side here, you can choose to maybe go with a different section, right? Something like that. So when you close this, you have a different section here where you can add a different kind of widget. Say, for example, you want to add a YouTube video. So you can add a video right here. And that's one thing you could do. Or you maybe choose to put something else in there, right? So that's just a heads up. So you don't have to go with the full width hero module which they're giving you here. Now, another thing is you can also change the number of tiles you have, right? So currently we have 5 tiles. You could also go to 4 tiles, right? Or you go to 5 tiles, depending on how much content you want to be displayed right at the top. Now, the hero web part basically allows you to feature the most important things right at the start of the site, right? So that's one thing you could do. Now, depending on how you want to structure your intranet site, you may just want to have a banner on the top, right? So you don't necessarily want the hero web part to display different kinds of information because that may be too much overflow on information for, let's say, a new person to the organization who's just getting started with the intranet, right? So you may just want to have a simple banner on top. That would also do, but this is just an example of how it could look, right? And how to make it look a bit more dynamic, right? So that's one thing to take note of. Now, next thing, I've added a company news, right? So when you click on let's quickly go to this card changes, right? So when you go on new on the top left here, it says news post, right? So when you go on news post, it will ask you to choose one of the templates. Well, choose whatever you would like. So for this example, we're gonna choose the event, right? So when you click on event, it will ask you to basically choose a title. So we're going to choose anything, test event next week. So we're going to leave the text as, and the nice thing with the news gadget is that you can always add a person, right? So in this case, we are going to be adding ourselves, and we're going to leave everything here as it is. And when you click on post and send, now there is a difference, right? You can choose to use the news link and news post. There is two things. When you click on news post, when you finished the news, right, and you click on post and send, you would also have the opportunity to send it to whomever you would like within the organization, right? So you could choose like a contact list from here, right, and send it to multiple persons, right? Or you could just ignore this and post it whatever. When you click it away, you will ignore it, and when you hit over back to home, you go down here, you can see there is another news right there. And that's basically the nice thing about this company news widget, right? You can add constantly new news, right? So, for example, this news here, I've added just a heads up for a latest video which I've posted, right? And you can include things like this where you have links which will bring you to the page where the corresponding thing is going on, right? So that's one thing you can do, and this is very dynamic and very nice. You can keep on adding news to this section, and they will continuously show up and replace the oldest news with the newest news, right? Now there is also ways of organizing this even more, right? So you can give your news certain tags, yeah, and you have to create these tags within the site contents area. And when you create tags, you can give a page a certain tag, and you can specify criteria so this site with a specific tag gets prioritized, right? So that's a whole nother topic, right? But for basics, you can do company news like this, and you can also change the layout for this. Now, again, with the hero, you have when you look at this, you have the option to go tiles or layers, right? To have everything below each other. Now, this is it's a bit too much, right, for the purpose of this video, right? But you can do that, right? And same thing for the company news, right? You can go either with top story, right? Or you can go with a list where you have everything next below each other. And that's just another way of putting this out. Or you could basically go with something like this, hub news, right? So as you can see, we'll keep on showing different news. So if let's just add a few more news, right? So when we go to this card, changes again, boom, that's that. So we're gonna add a few. I'm gonna add a few news, and I'll be right back. So as you can see, I've added a couple of more news today, right? And yeah, that's basically how you can make it look. Now, if the more news you add, the more the layout changes, right? I think from 4 it basically starts, and depending on what you choose, right? So top story is the most common one. You select it from the template, right? So that's basically how it's going to look. You can choose to make it as a list, so we will show each and every one below each other, or you could go with different things side by side. Go with hub news, right? It will keep showing different news. You could go with a carousel, so like an interactive kind of feature where people can just scroll to the side. And you can also do it when you click on a little pencil on the top, you can basically do it on the side as well, right? You can also do something like automatically cycle news, right? Change the seconds on how long it should be between each cycle and everything. You could also hide the web part if there's nothing to show. You can also further specify things like you only want to have news shown for a certain period of time, right? So that's all done while using tags. And you can do it, let's say you want only this month or the current month's news to be shown, and that's when you basically use an option like this, hide this web part if there's nothing new to show. So in the next month there will be no web part seen because there is no news already out maybe at that point, right? So that's another thing you can do. Again, there is a lot of things you can organize here, right? So that's basically how the news web part look. You can also make it look similar to the hero web part with tiles, but we're going to keep it at top story. I think that's the most sensitive one for our purpose right now. So that's one thing. Now, the next thing I used to do typically, or how companies may want to structure their intranet, is an option to list all the new people. So let's say you're in a big company, and let's say in a month there is like 2 or 3 new people that are starting continuously, or even one person per month or so, or for a given time period. You can continuously keep adding the new people there and link maybe the corresponding news articles to them, right? So that's one thing you could do. You could also replace this with like a widget for people. So there is a widget called people. There is people. So with this widget, what you can do is it will keep showing all the people profiles within your organization, right? So every person who has a user resource, let's say, started, or there is a user edited already for it, or there is a user existing for that person within Office 365. Once you type in the person's name, it will show up the person's profile with the profile picture and some basic information. Now you can change this to medium or large. So let's say you change it to large, it will show more informations. You change it to medium, it will show medium informations, and so forth, right? So that's one thing you could do as well. Maybe put in put in a page with your people's profiles. You could also add in a separate page to make like a, what's it called? There is organization chart, right? So you can include an organization chart based on all the people within your organization. Obviously, the data from for these, let's say, displays of organization charts and peoples and everything, that the data is taken from the Office 365 to subscriptions, right? So bear that in mind when wanting to plan something like that. And you could maybe create a separate page and create an organization chart and include it on the top on your navigation, right? So that's another thing you could do. Now below that, the events calendar is typically very sought after. Now, what you can do with the events calendar, you can do a lot of things, right? You first of all have to choose a source, right? So where is the events list, right? So this is the first thing you choose. Then you can choose all the data range as well. This week, what kind of range do you want it to have? You can choose from different lists, right? So when we go to, let's quickly discard changes. When we go to site contents, right, you can see here all the site contents which are currently in this SharePoint site, right? So as you can see, we only have one calendar at the moment, right? So you could choose different calendars. So maybe people may want to choose a birthday calendar to document all the birthdays of every single person within the company, and make also like a reminder for everyone, hey, person XYZ birthday is on that day. That's maybe one thing people commonly like to use, or an events calendar for after works where people meet up after work and whatnot. You could also choose a daily calendar where people see the meeting schedules for each and every team meeting, which is on a daily basis, maybe, right? So there is different kinds of examples of how to set this up. And the more calendars you add, obviously, the more sources you will have to choose from. And whenever you go to here, then if you have like multiple lists, obviously you can choose them from the drop down right here. Then again, you can also choose the layout, again, as compact, film strip, and so forth. You can also choose on how many to display at any given moment. You can also go with a category. Again, category, that's a thing you got. When you have a calendar, you can, each and every entry in the calendar, you can give it a specific category, right? And depending on which category you choose, you can basically show only those or show those. So you could also go with, for example, only one calendar, put everything in one calendar, and then give each and every single entry a different category, right? And depending on which category you choose to show, this corresponding category will show up. So that's another thing with events, with calendars, right? Now, there is a lot of things you can do with calendars, and there is some, yeah, let's say, stones on the way when you're choosing to display calendars as well. So make sure you build this up right if you want to display a calendar. You can also bring in like something like Microsoft Outlook calendars, right? So that's another thing you can keep setting up on your intranet page. Then again, there is something called quick links, right? So quick links is a widget which basically shows you a few links which should be on a quick on a quick note there, right? So for example, I've just put in a time tool for time management, whatever it's called in your case, or IT support, maybe something very important, right? People want to have that quick link available at all times. Boom, click on it. There is the IT support, throw in a ticket, and that's done with that. And you can choose to position this obviously wherever you want. Now, sensible thing might be putting it right next on the hero widget, right? So you could put it up there, or you can put it wherever you like. So yeah, that's how you could start building up your intranet. Again, I've only shown very basic things right here and very basic setup, right? You could also choose to make this different and adjust it again to your needs, right? So that's another thing you could do. At the end of this series, I'm going to show you a finished product, which I've done for a previous company, and you can basically have a look at that and see how I've built it. I'm going to show you a few things around that as well, in order for you to get a grasp on how a professional intranet will look. But this one here is very basic. And on the next video, I'm going to guide you guys through the navigation, how to get it set up, how to get sub navigation points and further sub navigation points integrated and so forth. So yeah, until then, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys next time.